Sometimes I think my head is so big because it is so full of dreams.
There was a book by Frank Edwards called Strange People, which came out when I was a teenager. It was full of stories, and one of them was John Merrick, the Elephant Man. And that appealed to me ever since then, because of I have a sort of eclectic thing about freaks and isolationists and alienated people. I kind of gather information on people like that, mentally anyway.
シルエットや影が革命を見ている。もう天国の自由の階段はない。
Now Bowie in New York. The play in which rock star David Bowie has scored a remarkable triumph on Broadway is called The Elephant Man. It's a story set in late 19th century England of John Merrick, played by Bowie, a grotesquely deformed man who suffered a miserable existence as a pathetic circus attraction until he was befriended by a brilliant young surgeon.
I'll bet you don't know what to call this.
Frederick Treves, played by Donald Donnelly.
No, sir, I don't.
Also closely involved with John Merrick's rehabilitation was the beautiful English actress Mrs. Kendall.
What a love story. I adore love stories.
Superbly played by Patricia Elliott.
I like love stories best too.
Why have you done it? Obvious question.
Perfunctory answer, because somebody asked me if I would.
And was it the play that attracted you, or the idea of...
Not really. I saw the play. I missed it when it was in London at the Hampstead. But then Philip Anglin brought it over to New York and started it there.
The most striking feature about him was his enormous head. Its circumference was about that of a man's waist. Please.
I went to see it on Broadway when it had already got sort of smartened up and become a Broadway piece. And I was totally knocked out by it. I thought it's sort of a classic piece of Victorian melodramatic writing with a slight socialist subtext. But it appealed to me strongly. I thought the structure was very good, but thought no more. And then Jack Hofsiss, the director, came to see me a couple of months later whilst I was back in New York yet again, doing the Scary Monsters album, and asked me if I would consider taking over the role at the end of the year. And I was flabbergasted because I had never been asked to do anything that sort of supposedly legit. And I said I would adore to.
And you began out of town?
Yeah, we began to. They sort of played safe and put me somewhere so I could die a quiet death.
Right.
Denver. And we did a week there, and then we did 3 weeks in Chicago.
There's never been a star like David Bowie, and there's never been a play like The Elephant Man. Now, the legendary David Bowie brings an incredible new excitement to the play that took Chicago by storm in a sensational sold-out engagement last year. The Elephant Man returns to Chicago starring a David Bowie you have never seen before. Startling, shocking, electrifying, moving you to laughter, tears, and applause. The Elephant Man, a play so big because it is so full of dreams. David Bowie, live on stage in The Elephant Man.
Bowie feels his rock shows were the best training of all for his current work.
Yeah, I think trying to portray emotion and whatever through a song is often as difficult, if not more difficult, than doing it with mime, because you have the asset of the body and the interpretation to use. With the song, you are restricted just to the lyrical content.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bond.
Sir, you are welcome. You are happy here, are you not, John?
Oh, yes, sir.
The baths have rid you of your odor, have they not?
First, I'd have to bathe regular.
I thought one of the more moving scenes in the play was the scene where you say, "I have a home," and repeat that over and over. Tell me a little about that particular scene.
Well, it must have meant the world to him when he first found that he had somewhere that he could regard as a home, because up until that point, other than the few short years that he spent with his mother, he had been living in back rooms and being generally thrown about the European world.
This is my home. I have a home. I
is what home is.
Forgive me.
Good morning. How are you, David?
I'm just fine. How are you?
Very well.
You're used to doing rock concerts and having an awful lot of freedom to do whatever you want on stage. Are you enjoying now doing a play where you do the same thing night after night?
Well, it doesn't become the same thing. I never believed the old adage that it would change every night, but it does change every night. Whatever mood I'm in before I go on stage, it seems to reflect itself in the performance.
Elephant Man, for anyone who is not familiar with the play, it's a very demanding role. You don't use makeup, right? How do you prepare for a role like that?
Well, I was plunged into it pretty fast by the time things got cracking, so I went to the London hospital and I found the plaster casts of John Merrick and the small church that he made and bits of his clothing and whatever, and just sort of got an atmosphere from that.
The next guest you all know, David Bowie. He better be good after this.
Riding in the French hall. Oh man, look at those cavemen go. It's the freakiest show. It's the life on.
Here's Bowie's personality a little bit, maybe, you know. When we were coming back, it was like one of those red-eye flights out of L.A. We were just going out there for the one thing. The guitar players, we all had our guitars like in cases or gig bags, you know. We just took them on the plane with us on the way out. And on the way back, the flight was full. And the airline people were saying, no, you can't carry those on. You're going to have to put them down in the cargo, and, you know, check them as baggage. The guitars would have got all smashed up. And Bowie, as soon as he hears about it, he goes, oh, I'll take care of it. And he goes up to the gate agent, and he says, hi, I'm David Bowie, and Elvis gave me those guitars, and so I couldn't possibly, you know, have them checked as baggage or put down in the hold or anything like that, you know.
David Bowie. I must say it's good to come to New York and meet yourself looking happy and pleased with life, and I think that's the situation, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. The plays in the evenings, I do my writing in the day, and I can paint when I come home from the theatre. I'm a bit harassed because this play thing is hard on daily to sort of... I find it hard to kick the part daily, and it's very intense doing the 8 a week. It's not the physical thing either, it's the emotional chronology of what happens to him during the course of the play. It sticks with you during the day, sort of like as though you've sort of covered in apple sauce or something and you've washed it off but it's still sticky.
The award-winning Elephant Man, an exceptional, beautiful play, has been running on Broadway at the Booth Theatre quite successfully for almost a year and a half. How then explain the uncommon flurry of activity today facing the stage at the Booth Theatre? Easy. Rock star David Bowie will soon take over the lead in The Elephant Man.
If I abide by the rules, I will be happy. Yes, sir. Don't be shy. If I abide by the rules, I will be happy. Very good. Why? Why what? Why will you be happy?
Because this is my home.
No. Why do rules make you happy?
I don't know.
Of course you do.
Oh, no, I don't.
Why does anything make you happy?
Like what? Like what?
Now, don't get upset. Rules make us happy because they are for our own good.
All right.
Don't be shy, John. Say it.
This is my home.
No. About rules making us happy.
They make us happy because they are for our own good.
Excellent. Excellent.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, now, I must submit a follow-up report on you to the Pathological Society. It would help if you told me what you recall about your early years, John. To fill in gaps.
To fill in gaps?
Yes.
The workouts where they put me. They beat you there like a drum. Boo. Boo. Scrape the floor. Shine the pan. Boo. Boo. It never ends. The floor's always dirty and the pan's always tarnished. There's nothing you can do about it. You're always beaten anyway.
Now, simultaneously, you happen to have a brand new album just out, which has already been a huge hit in England. Is it actually out here in the States
It's
yet?
just out a week or so, yeah.
Just out.
Yeah.
And the title of that is Scary Monsters, and of course one might feel there's some link between that title and the fact that you play something that could be described as a scary monster in the play, but is that just coincidence?
Synchronicity.
Synchronicity.
I mean,
What does synchronicity mean?
It's exactly what you said. It's something I was working on, as I say, before the thing actually was cemented. It's quite likely that the idea of Elephant Man did stay with me as a title, but I know just on my memory reference that it actually came from a Kellogg's cornflakes packet. On the back they were giving away, it said, buy your packet of Kellogg's cornflakes and inside you will find scary monsters and superheroes. So you presumably found Supermen and Nosferatus in your mouth. And as I was writing a New York album, it seemed the perfect sort of collective title for the bits and pieces I was writing on it.
Bowie's newest album, Scary Monsters, his fans will recognize an old Bowie character.
Bowie's Major Tom, the astronaut who launched him to success, has changed. He's now a silver clown. Unlike most rock stars who stick to a successful formula when they get it, Bowie, when he does, deliberately changes direction and puts on yet another face.
New York, after an absence of a number of years, I think possibly 3 years, possibly 2, I can't remember, but actually sort of being settled in New York for longer than a month period. The influx of the general paranoia, high jet set fashion and abject poverty all had an awful lot to do with the input that went into Scary Monsters. Again, sort of being thrown in at the deep end to come back to New York with all its terrors and delights.
After several months, Sir Frederick, puzzled as to how to treat the disorder, decided that it might ease some of Merrick's suffering if he could spend some time with a woman who would not consider him a horror. But where in the world could one find such a person? According to the play, Sir Frederick turned to a noted actress, someone whose training would allow her to mask her real emotions. In the scene you're about to see, the actress is played by Patricia Elliott. The encounter was invented by the playwright, and yet it is so honest and believable that it's become an enduring part of the saga of the Elephant Man.
John, this is Mrs. Kendall. She would very much like to make your acquaintance.
Good morning, Mr. Merrick.
Oh, now, I have a few matters to attend to, if you'll excuse me. I shall return shortly.
I had planned to say so many things. I forgot them. You are so beautiful.
How charming, Mr. Merrick.
Oh,
slowly. Please.
That's what I planned to say. But I forgot what I planned to say. Couldn't think of anything else. I was so excited.
Real charm is always planned, don't you think? No.
I don't know why I look like this, Mrs. Kendall. My mother was so beautiful. She was knocked down by an elephant in the circus while she was pregnant. Something must have happened, don't you think?
It may well have.
It may well have. But sometimes I think my head is so big, because it is so full of dreams, because it is. Do you know what happens when dreams cannot get out?
No.
I don't either.
At a news conference after his Elephant Man paces with his director and co-actors, David Bowie revealed a deep admiration for the extraordinary real-life John Merrick, the Elephant Man.
There was a quality of brave wisdom about him, and a love of fellow man that was overwhelming at times. I think he truly must have been an extraordinarily saintly person.
And revealed the reason for his rather daring Broadway debut.
I've not been known to sort of be a safe kind of artist. I think I have to keep things exciting for myself, otherwise it's not worth it for me to continue doing things like music and in this particular case theatre. And
so quite possibly, David Bowie has found a new home.
I'm interested to talk to David Bowie in New York. I mean, we're here for a few days, but you're here on a regular basis now.
Yeah.
About
what, in New York?
Well, I mean,
I'm not.
This is in America and doing a lot of travelling, but you're not in Britain as much as you were.
Firstly, America isn't a place that I come to very often. I'm not that fond of this place either.
Oh, really?
Aren't you fond of anywhere, Barry?
Hope they're not listening next door.
Well, no, it's okay. They know that as well, and they have to live here. I don't mind working here, but again, as a living place, I don't know. I really sort of go on just pure barbaric impetus. I do get fired up for something, and it's not all cerebral at all by any means. A lot of it is pure instinct for knowing that I found something that I hadn't found before.
I was interested at the beginning of your performance, and that sequence where Treves is giving an oration.
From the chest hung a bag of the same repulsive flesh.
It was like a dewlap suspended.
And you suddenly go into that stance.
The lower limbs had the characters of the deformed arm. They were unwieldy, dropsical looking, and grossly misshapen.
Which made me feel terribly sympathetic, because that must have been dreadfully painful and probably still is.
It came very naturally to me. I presume that it was something to do with the mime training that I had earlier, but I've not had any trouble with my back or anything, really. My hands got very stiff, actually.
I was going to say, I was watching the veins standing out on your hand during the performance.
I've had trouble with that.
It looked like intense pain.
Well, you are a famous actress.
I am not unknown.
You must display yourself for a living, then, like I did. No.
Oh, that is not myself, Mr. Merrick. That is an illusion. This is myself.
This is myself, too.
Frederick says that you like to read. So, books.
I am reading Romeo and Juliet.
Juliet, what a love story. I adore love stories.
I like love stories best so far. If I had been Romeo, guess what? What? I would not have held the mirror to her breast.
What?
I've learned an awful lot just in the few weeks that I've been doing this. I hope that I can explore the part even further. Good heavens, if I don't, then I'll be sort of wasting a lot of time. I would like to be more adventurous with the part. I've been sticking very tightly to the way I first wanted to interpret the thing. Whilst all this palaver has gone on about press and opening nights and whatever, now things are relaxing more.
Sure.
I would like to stretch out into it more. And there are certain avenues I would like to follow that I haven't had the courage to do so yet. But now I sort of will probably take advantage.
This is the first time that you've done a Broadway play. It is coming to Broadway, by the way, at the end of this month,
yes.
Right? Mm. Are you enjoying this? Why have you not done acting before, this type of acting?
Nobody asked me. I got asked this year, so I sort of plunged into it. Thought, yes, well, it's a really hard role. I either sort of die a death or sort of try and make it work.
You're definitely not starting at the bottom with something easy and working up. You took one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah, I think that to explore those kinds of avenues makes for interesting.
Opening night. Did you have a lot of jitters opening night?
Yeah, I was petrified. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Really?
Once I got on stage, and the supporting cast were just truly wonderful.
We wish you the best of luck, and I really want to thank you for being with us.
It's been my pleasure.
You mean the scene where Juliet appears to be dead? Yes, he holds a mirror to her breast, and he sees...
Nothing. How does he feel when he kills himself? Because he sees nothing.
Well, he... My experience with Juliet has always been, particularly with an actor I will not name, that whilst I am lying there dead, and he is lamenting excessively, I start to think that if this slab of ham does not part from the ham hock of his life too sweet, I'm going to scream, pop off the tomb, and plunge a dagger into his scene-stealing heart. Romeos are very undependable.
Because Romeo does not care about Juliet.
Not care?
Does he take her pulse? Does he get a doctor? Does he make sure? No, he kills himself. The illusion fools him because he does not care about her. He only cares about himself. If I had been Romeo, we would have got away.
But then there would have been no play, Mr. Merrick.
If he does not love her, why should there be a play? Looking in a mirror and seeing nothing. That is not love. That is an illusion. When the illusion ended, he had to kill himself.
That is extraordinary.
Before I spoke with people, I did not think these things, for there was no one to bother to think them for. But now things just come out of my mouth which are true.
I like David Bowie in it. I could see the sensitivity behind him in the play, carrying it across differently. It's good to see him in a different role other than just music.
It brings a vulnerability that I didn't see in the previous actor. You know, it comes across in his body and also his face. His terrific delivery, too. It's amazing.
This is a side of him I wasn't acquainted with, and I'm impressed.
And visualize what this man really looked like, and it's an exceptional performance.
I mean, he's wonderful. I love him.
Are you getting people saying, I enjoyed your performance, but I hadn't even heard of you before? I mean, is this possible?
That element has crept into it, yeah. There have been some regular theatre goers who've come and said, well, they had heard of me,
the name, but didn't know
in
your
some
work.
either perverse fashion or or some kind of really corrupted idea of what I was about.
Right.
And I suppose they've got a different impression of me now. Little do they know.
I'm in love with Catholics. I'm in love with your blue cards. I'm in love with the bodies that scream. We aren't so stupid, we'll dream. I'm in love with Frank Sinatra. Fly me to the moon.
We've been here over the weekend. We talked to John Lennon last night, and he said to me that he was fascinated by your technique of writing and perhaps wished that he'd been able to do that as well.
Boris has got all claim to it and deserves it, but I think it was probably instigated by Lewis Carroll, as he used to do cut-ups.
Dance, but I don't know its name. The people from bad homes do again and again. It's big and it's bland, full of tension and fear.
お忍びでという感じでもって心苦しながら何度も京都と、ニューヨークないしはロンドンを往復しているという話です、ここに彼の一番新しいアルバム This is your latest album, Bowie, Scary Monsters. This album making a big sale in New York and also in Japan.
Doing very good. I'm David Bowie, and I'd like to take this opportunity saying hello to all my friends in Spain. Why am I doing the play? I saw the play just before Christmas last year.
Perché lavoro in teatro? Ho visto questo lavoro l'anno
I think I look very funny when I'm not performing as a character. Almost clown-like. In fact, that's what led to the clown idea for Scary Monsters.
Are you the last rock star?
Am I the last what?
Rock star?
In my family, definitely.
Hideous.
Should we start the show?
Well, we have done. We've already started. Thank you for joining us.
Yes. Well, here we are, in fact, in the wonderful warm suite of the Culled Hotel. They're all warm, but this is one of the warmest. How long will you do the part 4 on Broadway?
2 hours. Then I go to bed.
How many 2 hours will you do?
About, I don't think I could personally go past Christmas. I know I'm tied up till Christmas.
So that's quite a run.
So it's a long run.
Yeah.
But I mean, for somebody who's as sort of grasshoppery by nature as myself, it's a long run.
And would you like to go back to the stage on something else in due course?
Not particularly, no.
This is David Bowie. Watch out for me on a special edition of Countdown next week. You'll see me on Countdown next week being interviewed by my favourite scary monster.
Well, David, welcome back to Australia, Countdown.
Afternoon.
And first of all, congratulations on 2 efforts now with Scary Monsters being such a success as it is, and the play, Elephant Man. I just couldn't quite believe the play, actually. It seems so strange for you to take such on a part as the Elephant Man, and yet it works so good.
I think I don't know. I think the part's fairly not an obvious one for me to play, but I think the fact that I'm doing a straight dramatic play is the most interesting thing.
Right.
It's not something I expected to do.
Well, look, there's a million things I could ask you, and I can't go on. Well, there's one question, David. Don't you dare rip it anymore. There's just one thing I want to ask before I want to give you something. Now you have Oh, no.
Well, Tatty, get the paper.
One that I can't understand, but you probably can tell me.
Ask me.
Personally and private, I've never been interested in rock. I listen to it only in an analytic way in search of ideas. I don't get pleasure from it. Do you get pleasure now?
Yeah, but not in the morning.
Right. On behalf of RCA Records, Countdown and the Australian Record Buying Public. No, listen, thanks, mate.
Thanks very much.
You've got to come down.
Thank you, everybody.
Any chance of coming down to Australia touring? Don't ask.
It's not out of the question. Right. Next year. Yeah.
And what's next for David Bowie?
As far as I know, I think the only thing I can see in the future is that I would like to go back and do some concerts again. In 1981, I hope to be doing a European tour.
Such is the stuff from where dreams are woven.
I never seem to sort of get it right. I mean, I never sort of come out with a tour at the time that I have an album released. It's always the wrong way round. When I go on tour, I've always got nothing on release, so I sort of put together some kind of new concept to keep myself entertained as much as to keep my audience entertained. Because a tour, a rock and roll tour, has been notated now many, many times, is the most grueling and boring adventure that a man can waste his junior years doing. And I loathe them with a vengeance, and I would be quite happy if I didn't have to do more than 15 performances. But unfortunately, because I'm not a commercial artist in terms of financial rewards, it's one way of keeping some money coming in so that I can continue doing the work that I want to do, and without having to go out and make sort of disco records or something to keep money coming in.
Once there were mountains and mountains, once there were sunbeds to soar with, and once I could never be down. I've got to keep searching and searching. Oh, what will I be believing, and who will connect me with love? Wonderful, wonderful, wonder when have you sought fortunes evasive and shy? Well, talk to the men who protect you and I. Oh, drink, drink, raise a glass, oh. In lovers' eyes, the
David Bowie, back on Sunday, December the 7th, 1980. Ironically and tragically, with mention of John Lennon, the day before John Lennon was so brutally shot.
I don't know why, but I'm tired of my mind. Pain is over me, overloading. I don't know why, but you're trying to be kind. Take off your silver smile, throw your head back, and cry. Throw the rock upon a road and it breaks into pieces. Shake a branch upon the snow and the sun is defeated. Pull the curtains on yesterday and it seems so much later. Put a bullet in my brain and I make all the paper.
To the editor of The Times. Sir, in November 1886, you were kind enough to insert in The Times a letter from me drawing attention to the case of Joseph Merrick.
John.
John. Oh, yes, of course. Known as the Elephant Man.
And it's no
David Bowie on Broadway. Even as you stare at your screen this very moment, while thinking about exciting nighttime activities to come, such as filling the hot water bottle, David Bowie is about to go on stage at the Booth Theatre in New York. If you happen to be in New York before Christmas, and if having got there you can get a ticket for The Elephant Man, do go. Thank you, David.